Anthony Adebayo. We off the record.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes. You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5. We off the record.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B. We off the record. We off the record.
Yo, what's good, man? How you doing?
We are here. This is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
Boy, Scotty B, huh?
All right. So we got another week. Football is about to ramp up. College football playoffs is getting ready to start. I guess you could say bowl season is here. And I mean, it's a lot to talk about in the realm of just football in general,
right?
College or NFL. So I mean, where you want to start?
Let's start with basketball first, because I know we got a lot of football to talk about. Yeah, so
it's November. I mean December. We have to talk. It's not even Christmas yet.
So look, it's almost Christmas. We got like 7 more days. Did you watch the Cup game?
No,
you didn't watch it.
But I watched the highlights.
Okay, so I will say this: I was surprised that OKC didn't put up a better fight.
I wasn't. That the NBA Cup is made for older veteran teams, right? As of right now, I mean, that's what history says. You're gonna have a younger team, you're gonna have an older team, and the older team is gonna win. Right now, for whatever reason, last year's Lakers team was the oldest team in the league and won the cup. Now this year, the Bucks are the oldest team in the league. I'm lying. I didn't watch the whole game, but I did watch the game. I watched it enough to see that if the Bucks start clicking like that, it's gonna be hard to beat them. I don't care what team it is. And because there's nobody in the league that can stop Giannis. If you have Giannis attacking the basket like that, I mean it's a wrap. And then 2, I mean he still got Dame and I mean Dame looks like Portland Dame right now.
Right.
Yeah,
so if history repeats itself, I know LA won last year.
Mm-hmm.
It went on a terrible losing streak.
Correct.
Do you see that happening with the Bucks?
No. And the main reason why, because LA's coach last year is on the Bucks staff. He's never lost a cup game, NBA Cup game. So Darvin Ham is on the Bucks staff, and I think that having somebody with that experience from last year will keep them grounded. And I think this team is more grounded than that Lakers. It was something about that Lakers team that, I mean, first of all, they're too LeBron dependent, right? I mean, AD, it should be AD's team, but nobody ever says this is AD's team. They say it's LeBron and them. I mean, yes, he's a larger-than-life figure, but AD is supposed to be a larger-than-life figure as well. And I mean, that team goes as LeBron goes.
Yeah, it was interesting, right? Ham, he came out, it might have been yesterday, it might have been today, and he expressed that he was surprised that he never got like a contract extension,
right?
Which I think we all kind of saw what direction it was heading in. Like he wasn't going to get a contract extension. But what's interesting is, when are the Lakers going to, I don't want to say move on from LeBron, but really, really, really transition into somebody else's team? Because you are right. In order for them to actually, like, I think right now they're like 10th in the West. And last year it was the same story, to where they were that between 7 and 10 team fighting in the play-in. And I believe the year before they fought in the play-in.
They were in the play-in and made it to the Western Conference Finals. I don't know. I can't, in regards to the Lakers, I don't know. I think that they drafted was it Dalton Connect, um and they have some pieces, but I I think that it's gonna be because they already said AD and LeBron are untouchable. So everybody else they could trade and they just gonna build pieces around that, which I get. You probably gonna get another 2 years maybe out of LeBron, and then it's gonna be a wrap. But I believe he's gonna finish his career with them. So he pretty much got them in a chokehold, like because one he puts butts in seats, and I can tell you now, um, that farewell tour is gonna
It's going to
be
be insane.
it's
It's
gonna be
going to be
crazy.
insane.
It's gonna be crazy, and you'll know it's a wrap
Tickets are going to
because
be outrageous. I was fortunate to see LeBron. I think I've seen LeBron twice
Mhm.
now, and I'm glad that I was.
right.
I was unfortunate not to see Michael Jordan. And I wish that when he was playing with the Wizards, because
Mhm.
that would have been my only opportunity to ever see him. I wish I
Right.
would have made that trip up to DC. And
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, and that's probably the last time Wizards tickets were like crazy. um, but going back to the Bucks, I don't see them going through a stretch that the Lakers went through last year for a couple reasons. One, like we said, Darvin Ham is there, but two, they're in the East, and I mean it's the East. I mean and three, they already had they slump. They had they slump at the beginning of the season, so I think that now they're starting to click and Dame and Giannis are starting to be like the
the
guys.
the
And
1-2 punch that we
right,
expected him to see.
correct.
I think, and this is just my opinion, watching Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron
Mm-hmm.
early in their career figure out how to mesh a lot quicker. I think that spoiled us, right?
Yep.
Because the expectations were okay, those guys could just figure it out. And even I'll go a step back with Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett, like
Right.
when they meshed. And lately, I'll say really since then, I can't really think of a super team or a whole bunch of like names that you can put on a roster
Mm-hmm.
duplicate that same level of success. And I think it goes back to the same argument. And nobody was trying to hear this because everybody had LeBron as a villain. It
Mm-hmm.
really takes time to develop that chemistry with your teammates. Like you can't just go out there and say, okay, all right, we're the best on paper. Like you have to
Right.
build up that chemistry. So, shout out to them for
Mm-hmm.
sticking with it. I mean, shoot, we saw with Kyrie and Luka
Right.
last year. Like
Yep.
it didn't initially happen, but once they started clicking, if you give them that time to build up that chemistry.
And then it almost like you're right. It was people were spoiled, and I personally think that if they still had their old coach, they probably would still be better. I ain't saying I don't like Doc Rivers, right? I'm not saying that I don't. I think he's as far as I know, he's a great human being. I personally think that as an NBA coach, he's overrated.
So, all right,
Go ahead, defend him. Go ahead, defend him.
I want to use Doc Rivers like Coach Moore in Michigan.
Oh, no, 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 no. We have way too much of a sample size of Doc Rivers. Now, go ahead. I want to hear this. I want to hear what?
Hear me out, right?
Okay.
And you kind of, because you kind of not swayed my opinion. I still feel the way that I feel.
Okay.
But you told me one important thing, and I thought you won this part of the argument, is sometimes like you have to have a player's coach, right? So you have guys that relate to the locker room.
Right.
I feel like that's what Doc Rivers brings to whatever stop he's at, to where like he was a pro.
Right.
A lot of the players like to play for him because they respect him.
That's true.
And a lot of other things get overlooked because his guys are like riding for him, and his guys like really, they'll play for him. He's a player's coach.
Right.
So I think with Doc Rivers, like even this season, right? I think it was premature of them to fire their coach last year.
Yeah, they were like 40-9 or something like that.
Yeah, he was going to coach the All-Star break. So like, but for whatever reason, they got rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
This year they bring it. Well, last year they bring in Doc Rivers.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't really fire him because you look crazy if you don't give him the opportunity. But the reality is he didn't do a better job than the coach that they fired.
Correct.
So,
well, I get it, but I just think that he's a little overrated. I mean, his history says overrated, but
he gets more opportunities because he's a player's coach, so everybody likes him.
Mm-hmm.
He does have a championship on his resume. It was a billion years ago. It was a long time ago, but he has a championship on his resume, and he will keep his team in the playoffs. Now, they may not go too far in the playoffs, but consistently he can get your team to the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all right. So we'll see what happens with the Bucks. I'm not saying I root for the Bucks, but I feel like, I think that Giannis is a likable person, and I like Dame. I think Dame is a super cool human being. So, and I wouldn't mind seeing Dame one day win a championship. Speaking of which, let's before we start talking college football or even like some NFL, I do want to talk to you about one thing that I saw that I've been trying to keep up with. Is Aaron Rodgers. First of all, I think Aaron Rodgers is a piece of work. I think he is a complete asshole. I don't know if I would like to hang around him. Right? He doesn't come off as the come hang with me type guy. Right? And again, you that's what we see on TV. And I know there was time, not me personally, but I know I've heard people say, I wouldn't want to be around Kyrie or something like that. And you think like, damn, what would Kyrie do? And then we see him at a game. He's not playing, but he's personable as hell. He seems cool. He'll talk to anybody, and he didn't seem like what he was being portrayed as on the sports shows, on TV or whatever. So it's like, is that Aaron Rodgers? Because right now, I think Aaron Rodgers is an asshole. He doesn't seem like somebody I would want to hang with.
So here's my take on Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree that's the image that they're painting of him. I think that he's a different type of thinker, right? and I think that he doesn't color within the lines. And I think you just say the same thing for Kyrie Irving, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is a nice guy, but he's not going to just say what you want him to say.
Right.
He has his opinions and he's going to stick to them. I see Aaron Rodgers as not being stubborn, but once he seems like the type of guy that once his mind is made up, and you're not really like changing it. Yeah. He seems like the type of guy that he could dig his heels in the sand and just not and draw lines in it.
Right. So I don't know if you saw him and Ryan Clark have this back and forth going on.
No, I didn't see that. Okay. I thought you were going to bring up something else what Aaron Rodgers did, but
no. We'll get to that. Are you talking about the media thing?
Yeah. But okay.
But so he was on Pat. He goes on Pat McAfee on Tuesdays. Yeah. Every Tuesdays, Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays, and he was just, I guess Pat McAfee was saying some things as well, but he said the thing about the former players in the media, blah blah blah. But then what's his name? Ryan Clark. He said, I want to say it was on First Take, and he was pretty much talking about how he's not a good leader, which I feel like a blind man can see that Aaron Rodgers is not a good leader. So he brought that up, and I guess Aaron Rodgers felt a sort of way about it, and so they started. He started talking about. He brought up like, when you want to talk, when you got something to say about me, I don't care if you say any of those things, but make sure before you say anything, you give your vax status or whatever, and then people will know what type of person you really are. And I'm just like, I was confused. I was like, what is that? But I guess that was his main thing about the vaccine, and he feels like now people don't need to be vaccinated to do X, Y, and Z. Whatever.
Which is typical to
right. So Ryan Clark shot back on Twitter. And so people on Twitter wanted him to go at Pat McAfee. He's like, I ain't got no problem with McAfee. He said, well, the main thing is Aaron Rodgers said that he was jealous and things like that, and that's where their line. That's where they started bumping heads, and I'm like, I'm siding with Ryan Clark, not because I want to, but I felt like Aaron Rodgers is trying to stay relevant, right? The Jets stink. I think they won last week, but the Jets aren't going to make the playoffs. They had their sights set on the Super Bowl this year, and I feel like to me it feels like deflection. I feel like there's a lot of deflection.
So it is, right? And I think like a lot of times you can really tell a lot about a person when they're going through adversity.
Yeah.
And I feel like Aaron Rodgers, he's went through adversity of maybe like getting bounced the first round or stuff like that, but he's never, the attention in a negative way has not been fully on him to where people are looking at him and saying, okay, in Green Bay, you had a problem with your front office, right? Now you're with the Jets. You've gotten every single thing that you want. Like this team has ruined their team to accommodate you.
Yeah.
They brought in your coaches. They brought in the players you want. They've traded for the players. They've tailored the offense around you. They've done everything humanly possible to set you up for success,
right?
And you haven't produced,
right?
I don't think that he's necessarily a bad leader. I wouldn't go that far. I would say that he has a problem and he doesn't know how to fix it. I think if everything is going the way that he needs to do, that he needs it to go, he could be a good leader. But I think like it's one of those situations to where he's messed it up so bad he can't get out of it. Even though they did win they won their last game, right?
Yeah.
I think Devontae Adams. I mean, he went
crazy.
He went crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, I agree with all of that, and if I don't think he can fix, like you said, I just think that he's just at the point where you gotta do something, and then you're in New York, and you go to you're on Pat McAfee's show every week. The fact that he gets paid from that show, so ultimately you're doing what you was talking about other players doing, like former athletes. You're actually still playing, talking about or criticizing, and I mean they're just doing their job. At the end of the day, they're doing their job, whether they was a former athlete, because you can't have it both ways, right? Because I've always heard people go at Stephen A. saying, "You ain't do X, Y, and Z as a basketball player. Who are you to criticize us?" Right? Now you have former athletes who played the game, who some of them won championships or have played in the professional league for a number of years. Now you're saying, well, you played, but you shouldn't be criticizing us and you shouldn't talk about us because you played and you're in this fraternity. And I'm like, oh yeah, they got a job to do. So if they don't report what they're supposed to report, then they're gonna get fired or they're not gonna have a job. So you don't want professional athletes in the media?
Let me ask you a serious question.
Okay.
You're a GM of a team.
Right.
You are drafting the quarterback this year, but he's not quite ready to play. And you look, and the only two quarterbacks that are available are Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins. Which quarterback are you taking?
Going into next year?
Going into next year, like
Kirk Cousins.
You're taking Kirk Cousins over Aaron Rodgers?
I'm taking Kirk. Yeah, absolutely. Because I know Kirk Cousins, one, is not going to be a distraction. No matter what people say about Kirk Cousins in the media, I'm not going to say it doesn't affect him, but he doesn't lash out like a whiny little baby in the media. So Kirk Cousins takes accountability. I will say Aaron Rodgers has taken more accountability this year than in years past, but it was almost like he didn't have much of a choice anyway.
Right.
But I would take Kirk Cousins. One, Kirk Cousins is a tad bit younger, and you don't get a lot of noise out of Kirk Cousins. You get I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. Because you're gonna have a stretch in the season where you're like, I want to bench this guy or cut him. But at this point right now, you're gonna have that same thing with Aaron Rodgers. So I would at least take the guy that makes the least amount of noise that could help get my younger quarterback ready. All right. So Aaron Rodgers ain't helping no younger quarterback. I can tell you that right now. He ain't helping nobody. If it doesn't benefit Aaron Rodgers,
I think he helped Zach Wilson last year. No. I mean, I think he helped Zach Wilson. Now, was Zach Wilson?
That's not a great example.
No, but I mean that's a young quarterback that I feel like he tried to take under his wing. All right.
So but hold on real quick. If Zach Wilson and does this keep Aaron Rodgers at the same age? If Zach Wilson was Jordan Love, he ain't helping Jordan Love because Jordan Love is a threat. Zach Wilson was never a threat. Jordan Love was a threat. He ain't helping. Yeah, no. So, if you gave me that option, I'm taking Kirk Cousins over Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry.
Okay. So, did Atlanta make the right decision in benching Kirk Cousins? I feel they did.
I don't have a problem with it. I think that I feel like Atlanta had some sort of plan. And so they tried to figure out where in the season they was gonna bring in Kirk Cousins. And so if I look at Atlanta's schedule, right? I mean they got the Giants first of all. So they remain in schedule.
Which I saw you pick up Atlanta, by the way.
We'll talk about that later. But they
steady wrong.
So their next three games are the Giants, Commanders, and the Panthers.
Okay.
Three teams where if I had a rookie quarterback, I'm like, all right, that's cool. You still got a shot at making the playoffs. So that's the only issue I have. You know, they did lose 4 in a row, and he was playing terrible. And you left him in the game. You kept him in as a starter. And now that he won, again, he didn't play that great. But they won the game. Yes, we will. They won the game, and then you take them out. So the timing is the only thing is like, yeah. But if they already had a plan to start them with one of the sorriest teams in the league, or if it's not the sorriest team in the league, I don't have a problem with that. And again, he was playing bad, and he did play bad in the loss. So it's not like he threw for 300 yards on Monday night and 2 touchdowns.
I personally think this was a team decision. I don't think it was just the coach and it was just the front office. I think those players probably was like, you know what, we got
especially guys on defense.
Yeah, we got to get this guy out of here. Like
I don't know if they want him out of there, but he won't have a bunch of chains on, shirtless for a while. So he ain't gonna be Kirkio for some time. So I mean, we'll see. I'm ready to see what Michael Penix does.
I'm ready to see it.
Now now I need the Falcons to defensively. I need 3 picks. And
So what was wild,
Mhm.
I was this close to making that move and got a phone call.
Not for me.
No, literally a phone call.
Oh, just a regular phone call.
Just a regular phone call. And you know, we're just in this age to where like we're just always like multitasking. So
Mhm.
I went about my day,
I forgot.
I looked, it might have been this morning. Because what's today? Today's Wednesday. So
Yeah.
the
So this
waivers
morning-
went through.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, he forgot. And I saw it, I was like, oh man. I said, he's got Atlanta's defense. They're playing the Giants. Now, however, I did pick up another defense, which
Okay.
I don't think that was as good.
Who?
I picked up Indianapolis versus Tennessee.
And which guy got benched? Will Levis got benched.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I think defensively is a wash. But yeah, so I mean, we'll see. That's fantasy talk. But we'll see in regards to Michael Penix. I you know, a rookie, his first start. So you want to go to college?
Yeah.
Or you want to stay in the NFL?
Well, we gotta talk Michael Vick.
But we'll get to Vic in a second. You want to go Vic now?
Let's go Vic now.
All right. Well, Vic got hired. He a coach. Okay. All right. I'm not gonna do that to Vic. I'm not gonna do it because I think I'm cool with the hire. So Michael Vick, if you haven't heard, has gotten hired by Norfolk State University. You spell Norfolk with a lowercase n. They're a little state. Everybody knows Virginia State is big state. Everyone knows that. If you don't, you've been under a rock, whatever. But I get the hire. I'm cool with it. I know there's a lot of people saying, I've heard, ironically, a lot of people from the 757 say, I don't see Vic as a coach. My rebuttal, because of his experience. He's never coached anywhere before, as far as like high school, college, NFL. He's never actually coached. I don't really necessarily have a problem with it, because Eddie George didn't have any coaching experience. Deion Sanders didn't have any coaching experience. And Ed Reed wouldn't have any. He still don't got no coaching experience. He still doesn't have any coaching experience, and he would have, but that's a whole nother story. Whatever. But Eddie George, his first year wasn't that good. Second year third year won. I believe they're in the SWAC. He won Coach of the Year in his conference. I believe they're in the SWAC. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I think Tennessee State is in the SWAC as well. But he won Coach of the Year in that conference. Deion, of course, we saw him at Jackson State. He didn't have any experience at that time as a head coach, and he won the SWAC twice. So the main thing, coaching, you gotta have good assistants. If you don't have good assistant coaches, there's not a head coach anywhere that is successful that doesn't have any good assistant coaches. Yeah. Right. So he's gonna have to have a good staff. It doesn't matter. Hopefully, well, we know Michael Vick is a popular figure, and he's gonna attract some kids just because he's Michael Vick. And people can say what they want. There's three NFL players that can walk in a room no matter the age group, and it'll be a big old star. That's Deion Sanders, that's Randy Moss, that's Michael Vick. Those are the three that you talk about, and you're like, everybody knows them. No matter if you're 3 years old or if you're 80.
Oh yeah,
You know Deion Sanders, Randy Moss, Michael Vick.
okay, yeah, no, and I agree with you, right? I guess my thing with him being higher, and I agree with the higher, is he's been an NFL quarterback,
Right.
and to your point, you don't necessarily like have to coach high school, have to coach middle school, or whatever they want you to coach. If you've been around the game that long,
Right.
you're going to have an idea of what you're doing. Now, will it be some bumps in the road? Absolutely,
Of course.
But like you said, if he's got good assistants that know what they're doing, what he's going to be able to bring from a recruitment standpoint, like you said, I think is a good hire. I think he's going to do well. Another thing that's underrated too, a lot of coaches that are analysts, like on these like TV networks like Fox, ESPN, CBS, or whatnot, they make good coaches too. So he's had an opportunity to, play for a long time, because he played for, I don't remember how many years he played, but he played for a pretty long time, and he was an analyst. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he clearly knows the game, right? I know some people want to hold over his head where he said, when he was in Atlanta, he never read the playbook, or he didn't watch film and things like that. He was a pop star playing football, and he could do it. It didn't matter what he did. First of all, he was the fastest guy on the field a lot of the times. So
Johnny Manziel didn't read a playbook, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't know football. Correct. You know what I mean? I mean, you're talking about, Vic, he was a damn good college player. I mean, like, at some point, he had to like study or prep. Like,
absolutely,
there's no offensive coordinator that's going to just allow you, regardless if he didn't study off the field. When he was in the facility, I'm pretty sure that he had to he couldn't fake it that long. Like, you have to know what you're doing. Now, I do believe this, and he's been on the record saying this numerous times. What changed his career was when he was in prison, and Tony Dungy came to visit him and explained to him, okay, this is how Peyton Manning goes about it. And I think that the years that he was with the Eagles, those first couple of years being with Donovan McNabb.
Yeah, and, he was with Andy Reid. So, he was with Andy Reid and then went to Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, he coached, I believe, a little bit under Andy Reid, right? Or was he Michael Vick? He was like, he might have been a scout.
No, he was not. I don't know.
Yeah, he was on the Chiefs. He was on the Chiefs staff.
Andy Reid is probably, he's definitely a top. I would say he's a top 5 coach of all time. Some may disagree.
Now.
Well, yeah. If you bring his coach to not when he was in Philly. No, he didn't.
I say that people in the last 3 years are comfortable like saying that. I think it took this Kansas City run.
Well, that's a hell of a run. The run ain't even over.
So look, he went from what we say top 25 to top 5 with that Kansas City run.
Top 5 is a lot. I would say top 3. It ain't too many. He might get a chance. He has a chance of 3-peat.
Yeah. So what? He's got 3 rings right now, right?
He has. Yeah.
He's got 3 rings. He has an opportunity to get 4. He's played in God knows how many Super Bowls.
So he's played in. How many Super Bowls he lost with Kansas City? 1. He just lost to Tampa Bay. Yeah. So he's 3-1 in Super Bowls with Tampa Bay and 0-1.
Yeah,
with the Eagles.
And then I don't know how many conference championships he's been to.
But no, 5 straight with Philly.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. But you have to like. I know we say that as not getting it done, but you have to give credit if you got Super Bowls. Like if you don't have any Super Bowls, people are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you just
Yeah,
couldn't get."
but I mean,
but
if you're getting to like conference championship, I mean, you're winning a lot of games. First of all, winning the Super Bowl is difficult, and you got to have a lot of things go your way. So, but if you're winning a lot of games, like Marty Schottenheimer, never won a Super Bowl, but I mean, I don't think there's a soul that say Marty Schottenheimer is a good coach or
no,
a great coach.
He was a good coach. I guess the point that I was making is initially when Andy Reid couldn't get it done,
Right.
he was known as a choke artist. After he started winning Super Bowls, I feel like you can go back and you can count those conference games like, oh yeah, now he's got a pretty impressive resume. Like he had an impressive resume prior to winning the Super Bowl, just like Marty Schottenheimer. But I think like now in hindsight, you're like, well, he's always been the top tier coach.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm bringing it back to Michael Vick. I feel like this same kind of like the same thing that happened with Deion Sanders because they're larger than life. I don't think anybody said a word about Eddie George coaching. Nobody said anything. Nobody said nothing. He went to Tennessee State, and it was. And again, Eddie George was a damn good. But Eddie George not in the Hall of Fame. Should he be in the Hall of Fame? I don't know. I mean, whatever. Whatever. I wouldn't be upset if Eddie George made it to the Hall of Fame.
I feel like with Michael Vick and Deion Sanders, people either hate him or they love him.
Yeah.
And
but why do they hate Michael Vick? You can say it. You know.
Now we all know why.
The whiteys are watching. I mean, that's fine. You can say it. The dogs, right? Before the dog situation, Michael Vick might have been the most beloved player in the NFL. I don't know because people wasn't rocking with Randy Moss. Randy Moss was
from a black standpoint.
Before the dog situation with Michael Vick?
I mean, the beloved, like people, they always like Peyton Manning. They always like they
had a Michael Vick experience.
So Michael Vick was definitely one of the most marketable players as far as like you said, he was the Allen Iverson of football. You know, in the sense so like people really I don't want to say they
grew up.
Right. I don't want to say that they now maybe that's a bad analogy. But I get what you're saying. He was very beloved. I don't want to take away from what he did, but I feel like he's paid.
Oh, absolutely.
He's paid like tremendously. I mean, the man sat in prison. He had like debt out of his, but he had to like do a whole bunch of stuff. He's had to speak to a lot of people. He's had to go through counseling. He's had to do community service,
and he still hold it over his head.
And at the end of the day, too, this was like, man, we talking like something like 15, like 16. Yeah, might have been longer than
when
that.
Michael Vick went to jail.
He went to jail in around 2007 or 2008.
That sounds about right. And regardless, he got locked up. He paid his debt to society. He's gotten counseling. He, like you said, he went and talked in front of all these people. If I'm not mistaken, he worked with animal rights. Was it PETA? He worked with PETA. He's done any and everything that you could think. The fact that people are still trying to hold this over his head is ridiculous. And there are even people on little message boards bringing it up about calling Norfolk State. Don't nobody care. Listen, I don't know. At the end of the day, Norfolk State they have multiple problems that Vic as a celebrity can fix. Right? There's one, getting butts in the stands. People are going. You saw what happened at Jackson State with Dina. So people are going to show up just to see Michael Vick coach, right? Then you're gonna get exposure. So So with that, because he's Michael Vick, now ESPN, you're gonna see Norfolk State on actually ESPN or ESPN2. It ain't gonna be on ESPN Plus online. You're gonna actually see it on TV.
Oh no, it was a good strategic move. I just think that it was similar to when he got hired as the Eagles quarterback. Like it's always going to be, no matter where he goes, somebody is going to have something to say. Like people are never, unfortunately, what he did, people are never going to get over that. And I think that, well, I think most people are, but there's going to be a lot of people there that grew up during our time frame. And they're going to be like, nah, I'm not over it. But what I've always liked about him is, or Michael, when I say him, he seems to put all that behind him. And I think like that's huge that he's forgiven himself and he's decided to kind of, it is what it is. Like, I'm always going to get this hate. People are always going to remember this. I'm just going to accept it and I can just do me.
Right. So again, man, I do hope that that he does well at Norfolk State and possibly gets a bigger job, right? He's clearly not doing this for the money. But I honestly, when it comes to HBCUs, man, I like seeing all. We could have rivalries within ourselves, right? But it's like a family, right? If we can talk trash to each other all day long, outside of coming, now hold on, whoa. So, and that's kind of how it is, right? So, yeah, we went to Virginia State and it's Norfolk State. So, are we gonna root him on? Absolutely. But are we when Virginia State plays Norfolk State, do we want to beat their ass? Absolutely. But when they play, excuse me, one of these other teams, let's go Norfolk. Do it whatever it is you got to do.
No, I'm going to wish them definitely success. All right, we got to talk college football. I know you are fired up. December 20th is coming. Indiana.
It's going to be cold.
Indiana University, Notre Dame. It's going to be a good one.
Are we doing predictions today? Let's do it.
Let's get to it.
So I feel like the they got all the teams right. I think that I don't see anything wrong with the only thing I may have changed was putting Notre Dame at 6 instead of 7, but I'm cool with 7 also. It doesn't matter to me. So we'll go through we'll go through each game and make predictions, and then we'll come back and talk about the games that we're most excited to see. All right. Tennessee,
Ohio
Tennessee,
State.
Ohio. Let's come back to that one. Penn State, SMU.
I go Penn State.
I'm gonna go Penn State too.
I don't want to.
I got a feeling one is going to be similar to the Big Ten championship. I think that Penn State is going to have to score a lot of points to beat SMU. SMU can score. I'm picking Penn State, but I'm picking SMU to cover the spread. But I will not be surprised if SMU pulls an upset. But I'm going Penn State.
So the reason why I'm going Penn State is I believe they're playing in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And it's cold.
It's cold.
It's cold.
Oh, they look cold in Charlotte. They look cold in Charlotte.
It's cold.
Until they got used to the weather, it was like, yo, they look cold. So that plays a part, and that's what makes this playoff thing cool. Texas, Clemson.
Oh, Texas.
I think this is gonna be the one game that's a blowout. I think Texas wins by at the least 21 points. At the very least, and I could be wrong, but we'll go Notre Dame, IU.
I gotta go Notre Dame.
Good answer.
So let me ask you this:
Okay.
The jerseys come?
They gonna be in South Bend when I get there.
All right. My only request.
I got you. What is your only so everybody hears it?
I need your nephew
Okay.
to sign the jersey.
All right, just text me what you want them to.
So this weekend, I'll have some time. The frame, it's gonna go up. I'm gonna have the frame up.
Okay.
We can get back next Wednesday.
Okay.
We'll take a picture. We'll take a picture next to it, and we'll send it to him.
Okay. I'm cool with that too. So you're going Notre Dame. I'm going Notre Dame. I'm not gonna disrespect Indiana University.
Okay.
But I'm gonna be honest. I think that it's gonna start off close. I think it's gonna be about a 7 or 10 point game at halftime. I think in the third quarter, Notre Dame is gonna do what they do, and they're just gonna open it up. Jeremiah Love is. I'm not betting on this game for obvious reasons, but if I could give you one word of advice and you bet, the easy bet is bet Jeremiah Love to score a touchdown. If you haven't been paying attention, he scored in every game this year. So that's an easy bet. It's probably going to be minus 2,000, but, it is what it is.
I feel like these two teams match up really well.
Mm-hmm.
I follow Indiana just because they're in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
I despise like any other Big Ten team. They like to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame has a very good defense that you've been hyping up all season. I've had the opportunity to watch them play a couple times. I mean, their secondary is really good, and they can play. They can stop the run too. So I really feel it's going to be a game of will.
Mm-hmm.
It's
going to be cold.
It's going to be cold. And
but they both play in Indiana, so that's whatever.
Yeah, it's going to come down to who wants it more.
Yeah. All right. Tennessee at Ohio State.
I have Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
And I have Ohio State because I would like Ryan Day to keep his job.
He's going to keep his job.
So we can continue beating.
But he's going to keep, even if they lose, he's going to keep his job.
You think so?
Absolutely. One, it's too late in the game to fire because of the way you'll lose your whole class. And you don't want to lose those recruits that they got coming.
He's got a hell of a buyout too. I believe if they fired him, it would be like $7 million or something crazy like that.
But he ain't getting fired. I can tell you that right now. He's not getting fired.
I think if he loses, I think it is a strong possibility he's going to get fired. That loss to Michigan this year sent shockwaves in the Ohio State fan base. I think they're to the point with that. So I think when they were losing to Jim Harbaugh, they could stomach it, right? They at least were pissed, but it was like, okay, it's Jim Harbaugh. He's on his trajectory up.
And he's going to the playoffs.
Exactly. When they lost to Coach Moore this year,
it's not even about the coach. It's about all the talent that they lost.
Yeah, exactly. So to lose to that Michigan team was an embarrassment to that whole fan base. That whole fan base is livid, and they are pissed. And I want to tell you, if he gets beat by Tennessee with all the talent that he has on that roster, if he somehow, some way loses, they're going to pay that buyout. They're going to walk him out the stadium because he's not making it out of the locker room with his job.
Well, with that being said, I'm going Tennessee.
You going Tennessee?
I was going Tennessee anyway. I got Tennessee winning this game. I think that these are two evenly matched teams. I think
Tennessee's no slouch.
Yeah, I think that Tennessee has some dog in them, right? So I'm going with Tennessee this game. So we're gonna see. All right, Boise, Penn State. Let's speed it up a little bit. Boise, Penn State.
Penn State.
Yeah, it's at the Fiesta Bowl. I'll go with Penn State. Texas, um, Arizona State in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta.
Arizona State.
You got Arizona State beating Texas?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I thought you said something else. No, I already said Texas. We already
No. That was Texas Clemson.
Okay, yeah,
in
Texas.
the Peach Bowl. So Texas beating Arizona State. I have Texas beating Arizona State as well. You have Ohio State versus Oregon in a Rose Bowl.
I gotta go Oregon.
Old school Rose Bowl matchup.
I gotta go Oregon.
Well, I got Oregon beating. No. I'm sorry. I got Tennessee beating Oregon in the Rose Bowl. I got Tennessee in the Final Four.
Wow.
Tennessee in the Final Four. Notre Dame, Georgia. Hey, this is your pick.
So here's the thing.
Y'all just pick your pick. What's the thing? What's up?
I'm not that so on Georgia.
Okay.
I do believe Notre Dame has a shot at winning that game.
Mm-hmm. But
if I was to put money down, I would be putting money down on Notre Dame because the odds would be a little bit higher, and I think it would be a smart bet, and I think that I would be able to, maybe possibly make a few extra dollars on that game. Won't go Georgia.
Okay. Well, Notre Dame, Georgia, I'm going Notre Dame. And I know everybody's going to say, oh, you're being biased. But no, I'm not. Because I've seen Georgia play multiple times. And I know that one, they have a good defense, but their offense sucks. And if you have a good running game, which Notre Dame does, you will be able to move the ball against Georgia. They have good tight ends, and they have a good set of receivers. So I personally feel that if it's Notre Dame, Georgia, I'm taking Notre Dame to win that game outright.
So let me ask you this: where is that game?
It's gonna be in New Orleans. I'll be there.
What
the Sugar Bowl.
What day?
New Year's Day.
I have to roll. Might have to roll.
So all right. So the Final Four. So your Final Four is Oregon, Texas, Penn State, and Georgia. All right. So Penn State, Georgia. Who you got?
Georgia.
All right. Texas, Oregon. Who do you have?
So I believe Oregon beat Texas earlier this year, right?
No.
No.
They didn't.
I'm trying to think who Oregon beat. So
Oregon beat Ohio State.
I'm going to have to go Oregon, even though Texas really, really put a beating on Michigan. I think, I want to go Oregon.
Okay, so you have Oregon versus Georgia in the national championship. Notre Dame versus Penn State. I got Notre Dame winning that. Oregon, Texas. It's a tough one, man. I feel like Texas offense has been struggling like since October.
Yeah.
But their defense is oh Jesus. But Oregon is not like old Oregon where they just wanted to play everything on speed. I'm gonna boy. So I'm gonna go. I think defense beats offense. I'm gonna go Texas. So I got Texas, Notre Dame in the national championship. You have Oregon, Georgia in the national championship. Who are you choosing? You say Oregon, Georgia.
I'm going Oregon.
So you got Oregon as an undefeated national champion.
Going Oregon.
All right. So I have Texas, Notre Dame, national championship at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia on Martin Luther King Day / Inauguration Day. Ain't no way in hell I'm going.
So if Notre Dame
You already know who I'm picking, man. I'm going Notre Dame to win the national championship.
If Notre Dame, if we go back to Atlanta, I think.
Hey, man, I'm telling you.
Hey, big dog, we come to holler at
Hey,
you.
absolutely. So again, and I could give my reason on picking Notre Dame, right? I feel like, again, Texas's offense has been struggling. That does not mean that Texas offense is going to struggle in these playoffs. That does not mean it's going to struggle in the national championship. Their O-line and D-line are amazing. I feel like it's going to come to who makes the least amount of mistakes, right? And that's with Quinn Ewers and Riley Leonard, right? It's going to come down to quarterback play. There's some good running backs in this game. I think Jeremiah Love would be the best running back in that game. Two stout defenses, right? I think that game will look a lot like the SEC championship that we saw this year. Where I think the final score was 23. 22. It went to overtime and they scored a touchdown. So whatever. I think 25-19. But you're gonna get some score like that. Nobody's really gonna run away with anything. It's gonna be a defensive matchup. But I do feel like the secondary of Notre Dame and the linebackers, Drake Bowen is a monster. And I think they win. So it's gonna be interesting. But we're gonna post. We'll get the graphics up. We'll post our playoff predictions by Friday. So y'all heard it here first. You got Oregon winning the national championship. Yep. I have Notre Dame winning the national championship. Complete, no bias. I promise y'all. Because I know people.
No, but you've been watching their game. You've been rooting for them.
Yeah.
You've been to 3 Notre Dame games because you went to Texas A&M. You was at Army. I mean, not.
So Navy, I went to Texas A&M. At Texas A&M, I went to the Georgia Tech game in Atlanta. Went to the UVA game in at South Bend, and I went to the Army game at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
And so going to the first ever college football playoff game on Friday, and it's going to be cold. But we are prepared. Let me tell you something. My sister don't play. My sister, she don't listen. She made sure she got a whole list. She make sure you have your snow pants because you got to stay warm. You got to wear your long johns underneath. We got the gloves. I ordered some gloves. I got thermal socks. Listen, there's one thing I'm not gonna be. It's cold that day, and as long as my feet are warm and my hands are warm,
that is the key. I learned that in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you can keep your feet warm, you are good.
Yep.
So you put on 2 or 3 pair of socks.
Listen, I'm ready. Listen. I almost was gonna bring my hand warmers that and I'm going.
I mean, used to say you can't be cute and warm.
Yeah,
at the same time.
Absolutely. So, but nah, I think it's gonna be cool, literally and figuratively. But to be there, I like to go to like historic type things that people don't really think about. Like, for instance, we talked about Jaden Daniels and
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams. I'm like, that's the first time they ever played each other. Number 1 versus number 2 pick. I thought the game was all right, but it left us with a moment, right? It left us with the Hail Mary where the Bears ain't recovered since.
Oh, man.
They ain't recovered since. They done fired the coach, fired the coordinator. They like it's crazy. It's crazy. But just moments like that, man. Last year, the NBA Cup, going to the first ever NBA Cup. It's just I like going to those moments because
it's moments, and like I know on your bucket list is to hit every stadium.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I'm about to, I collect basketball, football cards, autographs, and stuff. So I'm about to really get back into that. So going to them stadiums, getting something from each stadium.
Yep.
Now I'm about to.
I got a Falcons flag in the listen, I get a cup from everywhere I
Right.
go. I get a cup
Right,
everywhere.
but it's nice to have those
Yeah.
things.
So, but nah, I think that the committee, all jokes aside, I don't think that Alabama really has a gripe. You got 3 losses, and you can say whatever. You got blown out by Oklahoma. Who else was left out? It was another team that was. I mean, Miami. You lost if you would have beat Syracuse. You would have been in. So it was like I think that this might have been the easiest decisions as far as the teams, right? And I think the only thing that they had to worry about was who plays where, who seated where, and things like that.
No, I like it. It took a while to get there because I know, like in our lifetime, we've been talking about this type of thing forever.
Absolutely.
So to finally see it come to fruition, and in all fairness, and I think that's why, like, college bowl season is really good. Like a lot of people look forward to that. But the fascination with the NCAA tournament, because everybody has their shot.
Right.
Excuse me. Yeah. But everybody has their shot. Everybody has their opportunity. So to duplicate that in college football now, I mean, it's phenomenal. I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna be crazy, man. And you know, it's the one shining moment, but like it's one shot. You got one shot, and then you can't, like, you damn near got to play perfect throughout the whole tournament. So it's gonna be cool. Next week I can't wait to come back so we could talk about it. I can tell you now we're starting to show off with the college football playoff. Win or lose, So yeah. You got anything else?
Good, bro.
Yeah. All right, real quick before we go, we gotta talk this fantasy league, right? So as you all may know, if you've been following this show, somehow, somewhere, you know that Scott's biggest rival is me, and my biggest rival is Scott. I think we all know that. Whether it's fantasy, Madden, spades,
battleground,
it don't matter. It doesn't matter, right? We going first of all, before I even continue this story, I just want to let everybody know that this stems from a long time ago. He didn't want to split the pot with me in for the NCAA tournament. I still am pissed about that, but whatever. We are in our fantasy league, and he from the beginning, from the draft, he said, "I got the best team. My team is going to be X, Y, and Z." And for all intents and purposes, his team was the best team. He had the number 1 seed. I don't know if he scored the most points, but I felt like my team was good. But I just had a lot of letdowns, right? They let me down. Dak got hurt. Tua got hurt. Justin Herbert got hurt. It was rough. It was rough. But I found the way to get into the playoffs, and I was the 6th seed. And if I'm interviewing to be a head coach at different high schools, if there's one thing I could tell my guys is to finish the fight. And just remember, just 2 weeks ago, we whooped their ass. So we got to bring that fight just like we brought 2 weeks ago. All right? They remember it. They remember that we went into their place and whooped their ass.
I'm going to tell you, I've never felt more pressure to win. I want to tell you why.
Why?
I have consistently had, and Charles, I know you're out there listening. I salute to your team too. Yeah. But I've been in first place.
Yep.
Like the whole season, right?
Yep.
So number one, I never like being in first place the whole season because I feel like it's some sort of jinx. but I feel like with all the talent that I had on my team, there's no reason why I shouldn't get it done. Now, that's not guaranteeing a victory or anything. It's the pressure. You got an all-star team. When you have an all-star team like I have, you have to get the job done. So it's a lot of pressure. I put a lot of pressure on myself. Right now, I'm praying for you, Patrick Mahomes. I hope that you have a speedy recovery. I've been praying for you every night.
Every night.
Yeah, I was happy to see that you were a full participant.
Oh my gosh! Are you begging? Are you over there begging?
I need Patrick Mahomes for this playoff run. Chiefs, Andy Reid, if you're listening to me, all that choke artists talk, everything. Yeah, I take it all back. You have to get the number 1 seed. Do not allow Buffalo to gain the number 1 seed. Play Patrick Mahomes. Do not sit him. You have to keep your foot on the Buffalo Bills' throat. I'm just asking. All right, so hopefully
that you think that was he heard.
I don't think they heard me. I'm looking at rolling Caleb Williams.
All right, so I'm gonna just read our matchup, and because you're in first, I read my guys first. Now, granted, I'm gonna just put subject to change because you never know what could happen in the next few days. So these are the guys that I'm rolling out for this matchup: Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, James Conner, Bijan Robinson, Mark Andrews, Brian Thomas Jr., Terry McLaurin, Justin Tucker, subject to change, and Atlanta Falcons defense. All right. Now, on my bench, I have Deebo Samuel and Pat Freiermuth and Gus Edwards, Justin Herbert, Rashad White, Curtis Samuel. If you're in the comments and you think I should make a change, let me know. I'm willing. Scotty's team. Yes, Patrick Mahomes, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, Josh Jacobs, Joe Mixon, Travis Kelce, T. Higgins, Breece Hall, Chris Boswell, and Minnesota's defense. On his bench, he has Darnell Mooney, Zach Ertz, Caleb Williams, Anthony Richardson, Jalen McMillan, and the Indianapolis defense. So if you think he should make any changes, put it in the comments. Let's see.
There's 2 changes that may occur. I won't tell you now because it won't matter, right?
Right.
The Indy defense may be going in to replace the Minnesota defense.
Right.
And I am monitoring this Patrick Mahomes situation very, very closely. I do not want to put Caleb Williams into my starting lineup, nor do I want to put Anthony Richardson into my starting lineup.
I mean, Caleb Williams is playing Detroit, so you probably would want to keep him on the bench.
Yeah, well, Detroit's defense has a lot of injuries, but that's another reason I want to keep him on the bench. Yes, we'll see. But I've got to get this done. I've got to close this deal.
Hey, man, it's $1,100 on the line. I think it's $1,100. I don't even know how much.
I gotta get this. I know Ern, he just tuned in. I know he's got something to say. He probably feels the same way. Charles feels the same way.
Nobody cares about those matchups. No, that's what I heard. Nobody cares about those matchups. Nobody cares about.
So Ern beat Andy, right?
Yes.
And then you beat Jamal.
Yes.
And me and Charles had a bye. So yes. it's all 4 of us.
Only 4 of us. I'm trying to find. I wanted to tell everybody what we playing for. We know it's the money, but I'm trying to find out. But either way, you know, I think that it's here you go prizes. All right. So first place, what we all playing for is $1,100. Second place is $520. Third place is $160, which is actually more than what we paid. We paid $150, so you get $160. Most points is $10, And best record, which Scott had, is $10.
Yeah, I have most points too.
Let me check. So the team with the most points. We get that, you know. I'm glad that Yahoo, they take care of all of that. This motherfucker, yeah. Scott had the most points, barely over Jamal.
Yeah, so okay, I'm $20.
You already got $20.
$20. I gotta see what else I can get. Okay.
And you gave up the second most amount of points.
Yeah, I mean, teams was having career weeks against me, man.
So
I mean, I think you, Charles, I lost to you and Charles, I believe.
you lost 3 games.
Yes, I lost to you, Charles, and Phil.
Well, so just you know, we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see. Shout out to everybody else that's left in the league. I guess that's Ern and Charles. And it's gonna be fun. We'll talk about that too next week. But we gotta get up out of here. Man, oh man, oh man. Shout out Michael Vick, man. Shout out, yo, do your thing. But this is Off the Record. I'm Anthony
It's
Adebayo.
your boy Scotty B.
We out of here. Anthony Adebayo.
with you there, but if you're a coach, do you
Yes.
take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sports.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B.